حضورنا الكرام، تواجه معظم دول العالم اليوم معضلة توفير التعليم ذي الجودة العالية، والذي يؤدي إلى تطوير الاقتصاد وبناء الموارد البشرية القادرة على خدمته وتيسير حياة الفرد في ظل المتغيرات العصرية. ويأتي ملتقى مهارات المعلمين الإقليمي الأول لعام 2014 الذي تنظمه أكاديمية الملكة رانيا لتدريب المعلمين للتركيز على الاحتياجات التربوية والتعليمية الملحة في المنطقة. ويقدم هذا الملتقى تجربة مميزة وفريدة من نوعها للمعلمين ليتعرفوا على أحدث التطورات والممارسات ووسائل التكنولوجيا لتطوير التعليم والتعلم في الغرفة الصفية من خلال ورش عمل باللغتين العربية والإنجليزية طوال فترة الملتقى، وذلك لتلبية الاحتياجات المختلفة للمعلمين في المنطقة. لمعرفة المزيد حول الملتقى وأهدافه وغاياته نستمع معا إلى الرئيس التنفيذي لأكاديمية الملكة رانيا لتدريب المعلمين هيف بنيان.
أصحاب المعالي، ضيوفنا الكرام، معلمينا الأفاضل، صباح الخير وأهلا وسهلا بكم في أول ملتقى في الوطن العربي اللي بيركز على المعلم واحتياجاته التعليمية. ملتقانا اليوم مش ملتقى نظري، هو ملتقى عملي. نأمل أن نعطيكم نتائجه آفاق جديدة وأساليب حديثة وعملية قابلة للتطبيق في داخل الغرفة الصفية مباشرة. هو مختلف ومميز لعدة أسباب. أولها لأنه بركز على المعلم كعنصر أساس في تطوير عملية التعليم في الوطن العربي. ثانيا لأنه غني بالورشات، عدد كبير من الورشات باللغة العربية واللغة الإنجليزية. ثالثاً لأنه جمع شراكات إحنا بأكاديمية الملكة رانيا نفتخر فيها ومبسوطين عليها كتير، ومبسوطين إنه اشتركوا معنا، اللي هم البكالوريا الدولية وشركة تكساس انسترومنتس. ملتقانا كمان جذب عدد كبير من خبراء عالميين باللغة العربية من جهات جامعات عربية، جامعات أجنبية. أجوا يعني دفنت لي، ما توقع تليفوني يرن بس معلش يعني ودائما على السايلنت، ما بعرف ليش اليوم شغال، بس نعتذر. المهم معنا خبراء عالميين من جامعات عريقة، من هارفارد، من يوبن، من MIT، جامعة كولومبيا، جامعة ساوثهامبتون البريطانية، الجامعة الأمريكية في بيروت، وطبعاً الجامعة الأردنية. وكمان جذب معلمين محترفين حبوا إنه يشاركوكم خبراتهم من خلال ورشات. وإحنا بنعرف إنه يمكن أقوى نوع من التعلم هو المعلم للمعلم، لأنه أنتوا الخبراء وأنتوا اللي بتعرفوا على أرض الواقع شو الموجود. ويمكن أهم شيء إنه ملتقانا اليوم جاب مع 750 معلم من الأردن والوطن العربي شاركوا معنا، وبالنسبة لنا هذه ثروة كبيرة وإحنا كتير فخورين بهذا الإنجاز. جيتوا عشان تتعلموا وتتشاركوا ممارسات فضلة وتبنوا علاقات مهنية ومجتمعات تعلم، وعشان تعملوا مع بعض على تحسين تحصيل الطالب في الوطن العربي. فأهلا وسهلا بكم في بلدكم الأردن. اسمحوا لي شوي عشان هاي الجلسة شوي غير رسمية، رح أقلب على اللغة الإنجليزية عشان بدنا نرحب بالمشاركين وبالمتحدثين. Just over a year ago, I was sitting having coffee with my friend Adrian Kearney, IB Regional Director, and my friend Anton Heierhager, Texas Instruments Education Technology Regional Director. We were at the IB conference in The Hague, and I shared with them Her Majesty's vision of wanting to launch a forum for teachers in the Arab world with the purpose of improving students' performance in math, science, Arabic, and English literacy. And I was extremely grateful when they both jumped at the opportunity to partner with Queen Rania Teacher Academy and make it happen. Adrian, Anton, thank you very much for helping me and helping Queen Rania Teacher Academy realize this dream and turn it into reality. And thank you, Dr. Kumari, for all the support that you have extended to us and for being with us here today. Worthwhile mentioning that our partnership with the IB is not new. Queen Rania Teacher Academy has been a recognized IBPD provider for 4 years now. And our partnership is something we cherish, and undoubtedly we will work together to grow. As for Texas Instruments, the Teacher Skills Forum is certainly the start, but no doubt it's not the end. Dear guests, we have carefully selected and designed our forum to be rich in content. We have 104 workshops, 24 sub-plenaries, and 3 plenaries. These sessions have been designed with a focus on 6 main strands: math, science, literacy in English, literacy in Arabic, ICT, and pedagogy. Details are in your booklets and on the forum application that can be downloaded, and I'm sure you'll make the best out of those 2 days. An important note, an integral part of our work at Queen Rania Teacher Academy involves listening to and responding to the learning needs of teachers. Therefore, following this forum, you will receive a comprehensive survey about the academic content. So please make sure to respond and to return the survey because your opinion really matters to us. We also planned 5 parallel meetings to be held on the 2nd day of the forum during the 7th session. These meetings listed as action plan on your forum program. 1 for each strand will be open to all interested participants to share their insights, observations, and learnings throughout the forum, and the outcomes of which will be presented at the closing session. These sessions will be moderated by participating teachers in this forum. I don't know if we have the participating teachers, if they could stand up so that people would identify them. Do we have? Are they anywhere to be seen? Okay, never mind. And in order to have a meaningful and constructive dialogue, we must limit the number of participants attending to 50 teachers for each strand. Therefore, we kindly ask you that you register at the registration desk for any of these strands and at the foyer for any of these strands to make sure that you are there and participating. Furthermore, in an effort to enrich the conference experience, we are pleased to present to you the various solution providers in our exhibitor area. Our exhibitors will be showcasing their products and services, and a number of which will have parallel exhibitor sessions. Please visit them, check out the great services that they have to offer. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our diamond sponsor, Saraya, gold sponsors, Microsoft, Jordan Carbonate Company, and Ahli Bank, gala dinner sponsor, Arab Potash Company, official carrier, Royal Jordanian, silver sponsor, Intel and Pamoja Education, forum supporters, King Hussein bin Talal Convention Center and King Abdullah Fund for Development and the Jordan Islamic Bank, telecom partner Umniya, and media sponsor Ru'ya, and all our wonderful supporters who sponsored speakers and teachers to come to this event. I would also like to extend a special thanks to our distinguished speakers and workshop leaders. Last but not least, let's not forget the Forum Steering Committee from Queen Rania Teacher Academy, Hania Barqawi, my deputy, for leading the operations team, and Mary Tadros for leading the academic team, events management company, Pinnacle, and the branding company Syntax. This forum wouldn't have been a reality without you. Final note to you, dear teachers, please make the best out of those 2 days. Learn, share, network, and give us your feedback. And above all, please have fun. Thank you.
تأسست منظمة البكالوريا الدولية عام 68 وتعتبر منظمة البكالوريا الدولية منظمة غير ربحية تقدم برامج تعليمية تحفيزية ذات جودة عالية للمدارس حول العالم. وحصلت هذه البرامج على شعبية كبيرة لصرامة وجودة مقاييسها في إعداد الطلبة لمواكبة الحياة في القرن ال21. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Adrian Kearney, Regional Director, Africa, Europe and the Middle East from the International Baccalaureate.
Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellencies, dear distinguished guests and teachers, it is truly a great personal and professional honor to be asked to address you at the beginning of what I'm sure is going to be 2 very exciting and enriching days. I'm convinced that this forum has significant potential to create momentum for lasting educational impact in the Kingdom of Jordan and beyond in the Middle East. I'd like to begin by applauding the vision, energy, and importance that Her Majesty Queen Rania has placed on this event through her patronage, her personal vision to improve educational outcomes by focusing on enhancing the quality of classroom education. Queen Rania Teacher Academy, QRTA, has a powerful vision which puts the teacher at the heart of improving the quality of education in Jordan and the Middle East. I'd like to congratulate the leadership of the Academy, especially the CEO, Haif Banayan, who brings so much value to the work that he does and has been an absolute joy to work with. One constant thread weaving through QRTA's work has been the will to enhance the quality of mathematics, science and literacy instruction among teachers and provide practical tools for teaching practice. Texas Instruments also shares this vision, and together I believe that we 3 partners have created quite an outstanding conference program for you, which we very much hope you enjoy. The underlying purpose of the event then is to support an essential shift in teaching practice and ultimately, in the future, help prepare the region's youth with the skills and knowledge they will need to successfully compete in the workforce. And I'm very pleased, and it's very important, that the forum offers plenaries and workshops in both Arabic and in English. Now, many of you know the work of the International Baccalaureate, or the IB as we call it, but some of you may be less familiar, so please just give me a moment to give you a brief introduction of our work. The IB is a non-profit educational foundation founded in 1968, motivated by its mission and focused on the student. The IB offers 4 high-quality and challenging educational programs to over 1 million learners aged 3 to 19 through a network of over 4,000 schools worldwide, with a common aim of creating a better world through education. For over 45 years then, we have delivered programs designed to engage students in educational learning which equips them for life. IB students embrace their own language and culture and are open and responsive to the cultures and views of others. They're engaged, ever-curious learners for life. At the heart of all of our programs is the IB Learner Profile, a long-term holistic vision of education that underpins the IB continuum of education. The Learner Profile is the IB mission statement in action and provides a set of learning behaviors that inspire, motivate, and focus students, teachers, and the entire IB school community in a common purpose. The IB also trains teachers. It trains 80,000 teachers globally per year, and it manages an intensive school authorization process to ensure that schools which are authorized offer sustainable quality in their teaching and learning practice. The IB has had a long, enriching relationship with Jordan. The first school in the Middle East authorized for the diploma program more than 30 years ago, in 1981, was in fact in Jordan. In terms of contribution of professional expertise, Jordan is a shining light in this regard and has been a rich and valuable source of educators who've done so much to support the IB mission through the Middle East. We thank them most sincerely. The IB has grown well in Jordan since that original school was authorized, and we now have 17 programs running across the country. IB diploma students in Jordan do extremely well, with a very high pass rate, in fact one of the highest in the world. And I think this is truly wonderful and testimony to the commitment and quality of the schools. But our presence in Jordan isn't just about authorizing schools. In Jordan we have a true committed community to the IB and its philosophy. And I see this every time I meet with the schools and educators here. They each strive for excellence and support one another through networks and sharing best practice. Supporting the schools, QRTA has been an approved provider of IB professional development since 2010, offering workshops in both Arabic and English. Additionally, QRTA supports IB through the training of bilingual workshop leaders and the delivery of orientation seminars to explain in more detail about the IB philosophy and what it means to be an IB school. The IB is very committed to the whole Middle East region, and there are close to 200 programs authorized, and we have another 50 candidate schools working through the process. We're also privileged to have close working relationships with authorities and educational institutions, and these, whether it is facilitating new schools, recognizing the IB's value in terms of university entrance, or working on initiatives to support the development of professional development in Arabic. I'd also like to mention that the IB Board of Governors recently announced that the newest IB program, the career-related program for students aged 16 to 19, will be offered to any school applying to be authorized and meeting the criteria, and not just diploma-authorized schools, as is currently the case. We believe this is an important step in broadening access to an IB education and meeting both economic and societal needs for more school graduates who are prepared for vocational pathways and for the workplace. Thank you all of you for traveling and being here and giving your valuable time. I'm very pleased to see the large presence of teachers from both private and public schools, as sharing experience between educators, wherever they may be teaching, is core to who we are. As a reflection of how important we think this forum is, we have the privilege of our Director General, Dr. Siva Kumari, participating. But also we have 12 members of IB staff, covering both academic division and the regional office. The team will be presenting workshops on the IB's approach to international education and how it can make a difference. And additionally, there are 30 sessions held by IB practicing educators from schools across the region who want to share their hands-on experience in both Arabic and English. The whole IB team is, of course, available for you, so please stop, ask us questions, share your experience with us. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all an enjoyable and enriching conference. Thank you very much.
تأسست شركة تكساس إنسترومنتس منذ 40 عاماً، وتتجلى خبرتها في منتجاتها وقدرتها على دمج التكنولوجيا في الغرف الصفية للمرحلة الثانوية على مستوى العالم. وبعد أن تمكن المدرسون في أنحاء العالم كافة من تطبيق التكنولوجيا التي تبتكرها شركة تكساس إنسترومنتس بسهولة ونجاح، أصبحت هذه التكنولوجيا جزءاً من الكتب المدرسية والمناهج الدراسية والامتحانات الوطنية أيضاً. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Anton Heierhager, Director Sales and Marketing Education Technology from Texas Instruments, Deutschland.
Good morning, or Guten Morgen, as we say in Germany, or Salam Alaikum, and unfortunately that's the only Arabic I can speak to you. I'm very honored and pleased to be here to support this Teacher Skills Forum, which is on the patronage of Her Majesty the Queen Rania of Jordan, and my company and I will do everything we can to bring this to success. Adrian You said it already very loud and clear. We have to thank here a few people that this event is happening. And of course, you had the idea. Sometimes it's very good to have a little coffee break and just brainstorm together. And I think you can be very proud today about what you have already accomplished. Now it's up to us to deliver, I think. And I also would like to pick one of the members of your team, Mary, Tireless Mary. I think you should have a new nickname now. This is just representing the entire team. You really pushed us forward to make this happen. And so we are here now, and this is really a great achievement, so congratulations. And also what I would like to say, I'm here the first time on the Dead Sea. Congratulations to the area here. This is an amazing place. It really feels strange as a Bavarian, as a German. We always, when we go to Passos, we go up, not downhill. And here you go down. It's interesting, very interesting. Thank you. So, you may wonder why Texas Instruments is involved in education. And I would like to take you on a little bit of a journey back in history and trying to explain that. And I have to correct my introduction speak a little bit. TI is not 40 years old, it's a little older, but we are really in education since 40 years. I think that was the message. So why is a high-tech company which was founded in 1930, so now you know it's a little bit older than 40 years, it was founded in 1930 to explore, to search for oil. And actually in 1936, a team of Texas Instruments people was here in the Middle East helping this region here to explore oil, and they found oil, and you still take advantage of that. Over the years, we became a high-tech company, and this company introduced in the middle of the 50s the first consumer products which had silicon transistors integrated. It invented the electronic watch and the electronic calculator in the 60s. Texas Instruments is the company of one of our engineers, Jack Kilby, who has invented the integrated circuit. And he got the Nobel Award in Physics in the year 2000 for this invention, which he made in 1959. And I think we all know how important the invention of the integrated circuit for everybody was. This changed really the world over time. Texas Instruments is a company which created the digital signal processing industry. This is a core technology for everything we use today when it comes to audio and video compression. So when you watch your digital video, the base technology behind that is digital signal processing, which was pushed forward by TI. Our former CEO, Tom Angebus, phrased a very good sentence when he said, his target is that every bit which will travel over the internet will touch a TI component. And that is a very interesting thing, you know. This is we are so used to use the internet today, but what's the technology behind? And technology should be behind, but it is the base technology which makes those things work. And TI is a company which is involved in all these things. So why is a company now interested in education while we are busy today to contribute to the creation of the Internet of Things? Or as we call it, IoT, a new acronym you all need to memorize because we will have a lot of things to talk about that in the future. Why are we interested in education? Because we are passionate about math and science. We are really passionate about this. This is our daily bread and butter. Because we need basic research on universities, which opens new frontiers for mankind. And because we at TI need great engineers to invent those new technologies which make our lives better, which makes our lives more affordable every day. We need customers who have gifted engineers and designers and smart people who innovate and create and help to make those new products which will add value to people, which make our lives safer, more convenient, more fun, and make our planet a cleaner and better place to live on. And we need consumers who are wealthy enough to afford all these things and who are smart enough to see the real benefits for them and not just run after everything like ghosts. Math and science education is not optional, and it must not be scary or painful. It is a key element to help mankind to progress and to take the next steps. So we at TI do our best to contribute here. There's an estimate that every day about 30 million students on this planet in high schools around the world are using TI technology for better engagement and better achievement in math and science. 30 million students every day. Quite a number. TI supports the Teacher Skills Forum with over 20 different workshops over the course of 2 days. We have brought some of our finest and best T-Cube instructors, and T-Cube is an international network for professional development, and it stands for Teachers Teaching with Technology. The T-Cube network helps teachers to deploy technology in the classroom in the interest of student achievement. We have brought in enough interactive math and science classroom technology so that every participant here in this room or on this forum will be able to use it and get her or his own experience about it. You can explore several facets of math and science. You will participate on experiments, and you see how you can use the measured data to draw mathematical conclusions. All this in multiple and dynamic representations. So, are you now curious or confused? At the same time, maybe. So no worries, we can help you out and overcome this. We really tried our best, and now it is up to you to accept our invitation to explore something new and exciting. And remember what I said earlier, there is no reason to be scared about math and science. It's real fun. Thank you very much, and I wish this forum all the best.
نادين الطاهر وآية العسلي طالبتان في مدرسة الأكاديمية الدولية عمان، وقد أحبتا أن تقدما متحدثنا الرئيسي.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. When the idea of speaking to all of you today was first suggested to me, I didn't hesitate, not even for a minute. For one thing, I love being on stage. You can even ask my theater teacher. He's in the audience today. It's my moment to be outspoken and opinionated. But in truth, it's the topic of today's conference, why teachers matter, that I feel so strongly about and really understand. The student I am today, ladies and gentlemen, is the product of teachers' guidance, influence, and most importantly, love. I am forever grateful to my teachers, and we hope that sharing our stories with you today may help portray the blessed years that we have spent being students at the International Academy of Amman. Some people think that it is the IB that instills in you the love to learn, inquire, and take risks. Others think that it's the individual teachers that help you excel and make you achieve. I think it's definitely a combination of the two. Throughout my learning experience, I've encountered many teachers that have left their mark, ones that have impacted me, and whose words will remain etched within me for years, no doubt. My 5th grade teacher would be a great example of that. You may be thinking, 5th grade, probably 6 or 7 years ago. Well, yes, that's right. However, she still remains in my heart. This teacher made every student in the classroom think that they were a favorite. We were all the teacher's pet, all 25 of us. She was always attentive, never failing to listen, even though we were all babbling about nothing half the time, being children, because what we said mattered to her. She respected us, and we respected her back. She taught us with love, and with love we learned.
As teenagers, we are receptive to change. Emotions are a roller coaster. At this age, we become vulnerable beings, always battling with our beliefs, struggling to form who we are. Having the influence of the right person, therefore, is crucial. We listen to everyone and anyone, as long as it isn't our parents. The guy who lives down the road knows better. I know many of us turn to our teachers for guidance. It is they who steer us back to the right path, influencing without dictating, suggesting without imposing. My theater teacher is one. He guides us in the classroom and beyond. He makes every effort to help us understand matters related to theater or even life. He pushes our boundaries, always believing that we can do better and be better. If something is good, it is not finished. It must exceed all expectations, and we must give it our all, because as he constantly reminds us, the experiences we have here will stay with us forever. So he helps us overcome our challenges and embrace our fears. He takes that learning journey with us, because he too learns as we learn.
Now, back to the subject of why teachers matter. Well, the answer is quite evident. They are the ones that help shape the lives of thousands, indeed millions of us, influencing our choices, impacting our futures. And our guest speaker today epitomizes these characteristics. She plays a pivotal role in education, and the success of many is owed to her. She believes that teachers who know their roles, who are aware that they impact their students, will react very enthusiastically to engage in the daily adventure that is teaching. She recognizes the uniqueness and individuality of each student, stating that no two students are exactly the same. So now, please help us in introducing this guest speaker. But first, we will state her awards and achievements.
Dr. Catherine Merseth has taught for over 40 years in the levels of kindergarten all through higher education. Her work concentrates on teacher education, charter schools, mathematics education, and the case method of instruction. She has served as a curriculum coordinator and administrator, and currently teaches at Harvard University. With multiple degrees from Harvard, Boston College, and Cornell, Dr. Catherine Merseth had received numerous prestigious awards for her achievements in teaching and contributions to the mathematics profession. Dr. Catherine Merseth has published numerous influential books, most recently, an award-winning book entitled Inside Urban Charter Schools. She has founded university programs and developmental projects, all focusing on the needs of children, teacher training, and education in areas ranging from student leadership to mathematics. We are so proud to have her here with us today, and her achievements and accolades are simply too many to list here. And please help us, we're going to welcome Dr. Catherine Merseth now to talk to us about why teachers matter.
However, just before we came onto the stage, Dr. Catherine Merseth approached us and told us that when she's signing and writing in her travel documents, she doesn't refer to herself as a professor. She refers to herself as a teacher.
This shows her love and dedication towards being her teacher and her pride towards being called a teacher.
She's not just a teacher in her classroom, but teaching is her life. So please join us in extending a very warm welcome to the celebrated teacher, Dr. Catherine Merseth.
Good morning, and I hope for all of you in the audience, you feel the enthusiasm and the energy and the enormous learning that these two individuals represent. It's my job here this morning, first of all, to thank all of you who have come to spend these next 2 days with us, and also to acknowledge the very hard work of individuals involved with the Teacher Skills Forum. And in particular, I want to mention Mary Tadros, who has done an enormous job, along with her staff, and those from the Queen Rania Teachers Academy to make this possible. My colleague, who you will hear from later, and I spoke this morning and said this is on the scale of the national meetings that she and I would attend in the States, called the American Education Research Association. So this morning, what I hope to do for you, if there we go, is to talk about the quality of education and how it cannot exceed the quality of the teachers. Teachers are fundamental to the future of children and to everyone who lives on this planet. Why does good teaching matter? I think it's a bit of a redundant question for those of you because you do work in the profession, but I want to talk about how we can get more of it by recruiting, by pre-service training, by in-service support, and by the work with families and with school directors to make the experience of children and teachers more powerful. In our work, I think it's obvious to everyone that the most important characteristic within school is the quality of the teacher. We cannot do any more. We are dependent totally on the interaction, on the ability, and on the quality of the teacher to be able to affect student learning. This is well documented in the research, and we know that the teacher itself is terribly important. And here is an example that some of the economists have developed. We know that if a student spends time with a less than strong, ineffective teacher, after 3 years, that student's achievement will be limited by over 50%. The main driver of student learning is the quality of the teacher. So I want to ask you all a question. And this question is, how do you learn best? Is it a forum like this where someone is talking up on a stage at distance from you? Or is it a situation where you actually are engaged, you're involved, you're participating in the conversation? What is here on the left, the passive teaching, is really lecture-based. It is content-based. Often we see rote memorization, and we know that the teacher is the sole source of knowledge. But as these two young ladies showed us this morning, there's tremendous knowledge within them, and the idea of active, participatory learning, where it is a contract between the teacher and the student to each hold each other accountable for the work that is done. It is inquiry-based. Students are asking questions. Students are involved. We hear the student voices in the classrooms, and there are multiple learning opportunities. Now, why is this important that we have actively engaged students? Well, I know I don't have to remind any of you, and certainly with deference to our supporters here today, including the Texas Instruments, if we just pause for a moment, all of us in this room, to think about how things have been changed by technology, it is truly transformative. We know that students in school today will have something like 10 to 14 different jobs by the time they are at the age of 38. We know that there were 100 billion searches will be performed on Google. It's almost as if we should talk about how did we learn anything before Google? The top 10 jobs in employment in the United States did not exist 10 years ago. They simply was not a field. And the World Wide Web, as you know, was invented around 1990. And indeed, today there are 2.4 billion people using the internet. And while the internet accounted for 1% of the telecommunications in 1993, it now currently is well over 97%. So the world has changed. And we can no longer rely on previous teaching methods, on approaches, and who best do we have who can make a difference and lead this change for our students but teachers, well-trained teachers and caring adults, again, as our young people have reminded us this morning, are really the key to the future. So I want to mention just briefly 3 principles of learning. How we know when the cognitive scientists get together and do research about learning, they tell us that there are 3 very important characteristics. The first is that new learning is based on prior learning. Students and adults, all of us, when we learn something new, we want to connect it to what we knew before. And sometimes these connections are fragile, sometimes they are inaccurate, but we're always trying to link prior knowledge to current new knowledge. Therefore, we need knowledge networks. We need ways to connect things in our brains, and there's tremendous research now occurring in the cognitive and behavioral sciences that talks about how the neurons in your brains right now and in my brain right now are working to make a connection with what is being said. We also know that the successful learners are those who can step back and look at their learning and metacognitively have some idea about where they are in the learning process. Indeed, every person in this hall can point to an important teacher in their lives. And I'd like to just pause for a moment and ask each and every one of you to quietly identify an important teacher. Can you select one who made a tremendous difference to you in your learning, in your journey? It is my hypothesis that each and every one of you instantly came up with the name of an important teacher. Would you please turn to the person next to you and share the name of that teacher now?
So I am sure that you want to tell a story about this teacher. You want to share what was so important with this relationship. But it is always fascinating to me that in any audience of any size, we can find quickly and identify that wonderful teacher. So I want to talk now about how we can get better teaching, how we can have more of those teachers who are in your mental mind and your memory in order to bring them together to work with our students. And there are 3 main points that I would like to talk about. The first is, how do we attract, recruit the best possible students that we can in the teaching profession? The second is, once we have them entering the teaching profession, how do we train them? How do we support them when they are in the profession? The best time for an individual to learn about teaching is when they are teaching, when they are actually daily engaged in this activity. But we need individuals who can help coach, who can help them observe, who can pay attention to their different moves. The third point is ensuring that these teachers work in a healthy, positive school culture that rewards continuous improvement and the learning of both the students as well as the teachers. So what are the best practices for recruitment? The best practices would be to seek the top 10% in the cohort of who goes into teaching. Now, as you know, in the United States, we do not do that. We are working very hard to try to up the level of those entering the program. I just have launched a new program at Harvard University, which is called the Harvard Teacher Fellowship, and it will identify Harvard students, the best, the top students at Harvard University, and entice them through full scholarships and through job placements to come into the profession of teaching. So one is to attract the top 10%, to restrict the number of teachers who come in so that it is matched with the number of jobs that we need, and to provide ample financial support for qualified teachers, and indeed to increase the compensation for everyone who is involved in the profession. This is complicated because teacher supply is always mitigated by various factors. For example, in the field of mathematics and science, we have a shortage of high-quality teachers in the United States. It is difficult for us to attract the number of teachers in math and science and technology that we need. It's also made difficult and mitigated by the uneven distribution of need within the country. And I know that this may well be true here as well. It may be easier to find teachers to teach in urban centers and much more difficult to find teachers to teach in the rural areas. And this makes predicting how many teachers we need difficult. We also know, however, that once we have the teachers in the programs, that the best training for the teachers includes content knowledge. You cannot teach what you do not know. Therefore, particularly in the fields of math and science, technology, we need individuals whose content knowledge is extremely strong. We also need individuals who know about the psychology of learning, about the psychology of individuals, whether they are children, whether they are adolescents, or whether they are adults. We also need to have a structure which is continual practice and a belief in continuous improvement, that each and every one of us will get better every day and every year that we are teachers. I know for myself, I still absolutely love the profession of teaching. In fact, when it is a day, when I get up, when I have classes, it's a really exciting day because it's an opportunity for me to learn. Because when I teach, I learn. And I work very hard to try to teach effectively as I am learning. You also, however, need to have some knowledge about social, emotional well-being of your students and indeed of yourself. You need to be able to sustain a safe, nurturing environment in your classroom so that children are not afraid, as our colleague has said earlier today. There's nothing scary about math and science. The way to deliver this kind of training and content is content taught through demonstrated pedagogy. One thing that I've always found ironic is the professor who stands and lectures and talks about how lecturing is not an effective way of learning. Also, we believe that video capture, if I can watch myself teaching, that is a very powerful learning mechanism so that I can understand how best to change my practice. Using case studies, examples of real teachers in real classrooms and the problems and the challenges that they have faced is also very important. As well as child study, understanding children, the whole child, as well as mentoring while I'm teaching. You want here in Jordan, as well as across the region, to try to identify the best teachers and capture their practice via video so that they are not only impacting the classroom and the students where they are working, but they can impact others. You also would very much benefit by having professional learning communities, which I've read and know that many of you already are engaged in this. But most importantly, I want to call on you to examine the definition of the role of teacher. Because at least in the United States, we have a very limited view of what the teacher does. And the teacher is only teaching when he or she is in front of a classroom of 20, 30, 40 students. And in fact, that's a limited view of teaching. If we look to our colleagues in Japan, our colleagues in Finland, our colleagues in other countries, they define the role of the teacher more broadly. And they, for example, see that teachers working with teachers teachers studying the practice of teachers is also an important part of the role. It's not just when you are in front of a group with students teaching, holding for you. So professional development, once you are a teacher, and this is a perfect example of you coming here, once you are a teacher, this is your opportunity to continue your own learning. And the best way to continue your own learning is to think about learning additional teaching practices, to think about external experts. That's what you will hear here. This is not embedded in your job. You've left your children, you've left your families, you've come here, given your own personal time. This is one form of professional development. But there's also professional development that is embedded in your jobs. It takes place during your teaching day. It takes place in the school. It is delivered, again, as one of our colleagues said this morning, from teacher to teacher. And for me, that is the most powerful way of learning, is talking with someone who is doing the same job that you are doing. The best practices are to learn additional teaching content, approaches. I constantly am looking on the internet, talking to my colleagues at the university, trying to find ways to teach more effectively. The delivery can be done with teaching teams, teaching with a colleague, coaching by and for peers, lesson study, which again is something that our colleagues in Japan have really mastered, taking lessons, working together on a lesson with colleagues and trying to develop it to be a stronger presentation. Another area that we use in the United States that's catching on right now is called instructional rounds. And what instructional rounds is not unlike the medical profession, where a group of teachers come into a teacher's classroom and observe the practice and give feedback and give advice to the teacher. It is sustained, it's ongoing, and again, I call for a change in the teaching role. Another important characteristic is to build a strong school culture. The climate and the engagement of families in schools can only assist us. It is not something that holds us back. So the school culture is one that has collaboration, psychological safety, and continuous improvement. It is a situation where you as a teacher are encouraged to take a risk, to try something new, to work with your colleagues to understand how best to improve your practice. There are coaches. There are coaches who know how to coach, who know how to give feedback, and who know how to encourage reflection. The school director, of course, is critical in this role and must supply support through resources and an appropriate time schedule. You cannot be teaching 40 students at once and take on these other responsibilities. And therefore, the school director needs to believe in this as a powerful learning tool. One thing that I have always believed is that student and teacher learning are linked. If you show me a school where teachers are learning, I know it is a school where students are learning. So we want to create environments in which teacher learning is encouraged, it's supported, it's stimulated, it is celebrated, and not seen as a weakness in the schools. Finally, family and community school partnerships are very important. I know for myself, I always was a little bit skeptical of the engagement of parents in my classroom because I felt in some instances threatened by what parents would ask me to do for their students. But we know from research that if you have a caring adult and a strong teacher together thinking about the learning of a child, the learning will be that much more powerful. So we need healthy children, We need children who are well rested, who are well fed, who are well clothed and taken care of. We also can benefit enormously by early childhood, thinking about the learning of children before they enter our formal education system. The school director, as I mentioned before, is critical and key, and is someone who sets clear and high expectations, monitors the school performance, and intervenes not to reprimand, but intervenes to support. And so this will be essential. Teachers and teaching make all the difference between children's success and failure. And this is again another favorite quote that I have found. Every kid or every child is just one caring adult away from being a success. I want you to hold on to that. One caring adult, that's all it takes. So finally, let me close by saying that children represent but a small fraction of our population, but they are 100% of our future. Thank you so much.
شكرا لكل متحدثينا، شكرا للضيوف. قبل أن تبدأ ورش العمل سوف أطلب من الضيوف إخلاء المبنى بالكامل، وذلك لإجراءات تفتيش روتينية، ثم نعود إلى داخل المبنى لاستكمال ورش العمل والجلسة الافتتاحية برعاية صاحبة الجلالة الملكة رانيا العبد الله. إذن يرجى إخلاء المبنى بشكل كامل قبل أن نبدأ ورش العمل. For our guests, please leave the building, the whole building outside for routine security checkup. Thank you.